everybody, we're making the pastitsio. So this is the ground beef portion of it. And we have our ground beef. We made the other half of the container with the moussaka. Now we're gonna make it with the pastitsio. And then we have our olive oil, bay leaves, pepper, salt. And even though I didn't put it on this recipe, I'm gonna add this za'atar seasoning that we made. This is gonna give it an awesome flavor. So if you recall, this is our za'atar seasoning with the sesame seeds, thyme, marjoram, coriander, sumac, salt. So that's gonna be a great seasoning to add. Our 1 onion chopped, then our can of diced tomatoes, and our cilantro. And this is a great big bunch of cilantro, and you see the stems were left on with the dirt even, and that's helping this keep it look good. I've had this in the refrigerator for a couple days, and it still looks bright and fresh, so I'm very happy about that. I'm gonna have to chop this up because we need 3 tablespoons of chopped cilantro. So I'm going to chop it up. I'll use my paring knife, and I'm gonna make a whole bunch, and I'm just gonna rough chop it, so I'm just gonna chop it sort of like this, and then we'll add that. So I gotta do that off camera, and I'll come back and show you how we're making it. Here is our olive oil. I've got the pan on already, and I'm gonna add the olive oil, 1 tablespoon, to the hot pan, warm up the oil, and then I'm gonna add in our onion. So there we go. Twirl this around. It's a nice hot pot. Turn that down just a little. Get these in right away. Woo. So that's hot and ready to go. With my wooden spoon, stir it around, get these onions cooking beautifully. Want a nice little golden brown color on the edges, and then we'll add the ground beef. Stirring that. I'll be right back. You can see that we've got this like golden brown color going on the onions. They've sauteed long enough. Now we're going to add the ground beef, and we're going to break that up and brown it as it's cooking. So again, I'm going to use my wooden spoon. I'm going to break it up as I'm cooking it. You want to brown it. You want to keep breaking that up and stirring it around and cooking that. Just like we did with the moussaka. And the hummus shawarma, we cooked the beef, we browned it, and broke it up as we cooked it. So our beef has browned. You can see it's all cooked and it's all chopped up, so nice and fine little pieces. Now we're gonna add in our spices. So here is the za'atar seasoning. I'm gonna do 1 teaspoon of that. We're gonna add our salt and pepper. I'm gonna add the 1 bay leaf, our can of tomatoes, get that in there. Remember, we're gonna wash this out and recycle it. The can, and then of course, our 3 tablespoons of chopped cilantro. So we're gonna add all of that together. Every little bit in there. Stir it, and then this is going to have to cook for about 15 minutes. So we're going to cook that down, get all the spices stirred in, get all that flavor going, and that'll take about 15 minutes to cook. So we'll pause now. Our water is rapidly boiling away, and now I'm going to add our moscato regati. Add that to the boiling water. We're adding the whole entire box. That's 1 pound of pasta. Surprisingly enough, I don't have a pasta fork in here, so I'm just gonna use a wooden spoon. I'm gonna stir that around, and then I'm gonna set my timer for 8 minutes. I want it al dente, which means firm to the touch, and we only need to do it for 8 minutes if we want it al dente. So I'm gonna set my timer, and hopefully it'll be nice and firm and al dente. I cooked the pasta till al dente. I used this large strainer to pour off all the boiling water, the pasta water. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to toss it with some olive oil. So I'm going to put, let's say, half the pasta in a pot. I'm going to add, we're going to do a whole tablespoon of olive oil, and we're going to coat that. Now what does that do? The olive oil helps to coat the pasta so it does not stick together, but also of course gives it a great flavor. So we're going to toss all of that, and that will prevent it from sticking, because while this is resting, we're going to make the bechamel topping now for the pasticcio, and we need 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter. That's right here. And then we need 4 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Now, if you know your measurements, and if you look right here, in case you forget, on the packaging itself, it tells you 4 tablespoons equal a 1/4 cup. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's our 4 tablespoons of butter. But see how it says it equals a 1/4 cup? So if you look here, I have a 1/4 cup measure. And I can use this to measure the flour with, because we need 4 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. It's easier to just use this and measure it, a 1/4 cup, than to measure 4 times with the teaspoon measure. So what we're going to do first, though, is we're going to start by putting this in our saucepan. So we need our saucepan. We're going to put it on medium heat because we want to melt the butter first. We need our wooden spoon, and here's our saucepan. We're going to add the butter. And what we're going to do is that we are going to melt that, and then we're going to add in the flour. All right? So now, before we do that also, I want to measure the milk. So we need 3 cups of milk heated. Now, if you don't have a microwave, you could heat this up in a pot on the stove just to warm it up, but you do want the milk warm. So what I can simply do quite easily is stick it in the microwave. I'll stick it in for 30 seconds, and then it'll be done. So let's hope the microwave works. The other day it kept shorting out the fuse. And so let's keep our fingers crossed. I hope it doesn't blow the breaker. Let's see. All right, it's working today. Today is a good day. So I'm going to heat that up 30 seconds. That's the 2 cups. And then I'm going to heat up 1 cup. And I'm going to add the flour to our butter. And of course, somebody's calling me in the middle of my trying to do a demonstration. So I'm going to scoop a 1/4 cup. I just use the side of the container to level it off. There we go. The butter is slowly melting. The milk is warming up in the microwave. All right, and we're just gonna, I can feel the outside of the bowl, see if it's warm. Now that was 30 seconds twice. And I've got this one. So this is 1 cup, that's a 1 cup measure. The other one was 2 cups, so that would be 3 cups altogether. So I'm gonna do it 33 seconds twice, and that'll warm up the milk enough for us to use it. I'm done with this. I'm gonna put it back in the refrigerator. You wanna keep your milk cold at all times. So I'm gonna put that in the fridge. And let's check up on our butter. All right, so I'm melting it slowly because I don't want it to burn. And so I have it on low while I'm doing other things. As you can see right here, here's the beef for the pasticcio. That's been cooked. We sauteed it. All right, another 33 seconds. We have our whisk. We're gonna use the whisk when we add in the milk. So what we're doing is we're making our bechamel. We're melting our butter. Then we're gonna stir in our flour and continue to stir. And once you add the flour, you wanna keep stirring, and you wanna cook it for about 2 minutes. You don't want to get it any color. You don't want it to brown. You just want to cook it, and that helps get rid of the flour taste. If you've ever had a bechamel sauce that tasted like flour, That obviously meant that they were not cooking it long enough. They were rushing. All right, so now this is hot as well. So those two are ready to add.